going to give you a tutorial on how to make this headscarf for yourself. So cute, I'm literally obsessed with it. And you tie it around like this, and then you have your cutie little headpiece. And welcome to this new video. I've been talking a lot about pattern making on my channel, but the best way to learn how to sew and to learn how to work with patterns is by practicing with them. So this video is more hands-on. We're going to make something together. I pre-made the pattern for you, but you can also try and draft one for yourself. Download it in my community, where the video will guide you through how to make this cutie little headscarf. It is the perfect way to build confidence in your skills in sewing as well as pattern drafting. So the first thing I want to talk about is how I made this pattern and how I create my patterns in general. So this is the headpiece, and how I made this is I literally got a hoodie that fits my head well, and then I traced it so that it will fit on my head. And that's how I made the pattern piece. But because this is a more stiff fabric, this wool one, and I want it to be, very nicely fitted around my head, I canceled 5 centimeters from here, actually just everywhere, and created this piece that fits perfectly around the cap, like that. And then it stands out like this, and it will just fall nicer over your head. This piece is 10 centimeters, and then the length of it, so this length is the same length as this. So you will measure this after you created this piece, and then that is the length, and then the width I used 10 centimeters. And then the last part is where you will tie it. And I created this piece using my basic block, and then just seeing at what I think looks cute. So when I hold this like that, this is the exact measurement of the hood plus the 10 centimeters. So those two pieces fit exactly into this. This is only half, you lay it on the fabric fold. And then I literally just see, wait, let me show you. I think is a good length for this to be tied around my neck. And then for the back, I just look at how I want the shape to be. I wanted it to be more round, and then as well how low I want it to be. I hope that makes sense. Just don't overcomplicate it. That is what I want to say. And then the shape of this is just, this width. You can also check on your shoulder. Just look what you think would look cute. It will be something like this actually. And then it folds so nicely over your shoulder, and then you can tie this in front, and I think this is going to work out. If you want to use my template, then you can join my community and download your pattern piece there for free in the community and use this tutorial on how to make it. I'm excited. Let's go. I got 1 meter of thicker wool fabric, and at this side it is more a big check, and then here is Peter Pool, more small. I got 1 meter, and that is plenty. And besides that, I'm also going to use this brown leather biaistape. So this will be combination. This is like a very chocolatey brown color. So I'm going to place the fabric with a fold. 1 meter is like way too much, so you don't need 1 meter. Then I'm going to place the pattern pieces. So this one is on the fold. I need 1 of these, so I will place it here, and 2 of these, and I'm gonna place them here. I'm gonna cut this out and then come back to you. Okay, now I cut out all the pieces. 2 of these mirrored like that. 1 of this one that will go over here. Piece that goes around your neck like this. First thing that we are going to do is get this strap and your 2 head pieces. I'm going to use this as my right side this as my not right side, but it will be reversible. So just choose the one that you want for your right sides, but you can wear it both sides. I'm going to place this one in between those two, pin this here over this line, and then on this side we will pin the right side from this one here, and then you have two sides attached. Let me just do that. Goes against the other right sides facing like this. So now I'm going to sew those two lines that I just pinned. So I'm doing one of them first and just follow the round with 1 centimeter seam allowance. That is one, and now the other one. Now I'm going to give it a press at low heat because it's wool, just so that everything will look nice. Cut out two strips that are longer than what this seam is, so I am sure that it will line it up perfectly with the seam I already made. So here, and pin that. And you do the right side of the binding on the wrong side of the... We are going to stitch this and then fold it, and then fold it again over that seam, so that it looks nice and neat on one side, and then this on the other side. And I'm going to stitch very closely here, so you really want to come close to the seam. So I'm going to stitch here, like not even half a centimeter. Now the outside still looks the same, but the inside we put on the biaistape. What you're going to do now is fold it over the raw edges, fold it over and then close it again. And I have a pre-made biaistape that I can do this with and just make it look nice and clean. Over the stitch line, you don't see it because it's matching color. Just make it tight around the seam, and then you will stitch here at this side. Don't worry this being too long, we can cut it off. Look how nice that is going to turn out. Do that on both sides. The excess I'm just going to cut that off, and here as well. Very nice. I don't know, I really like how it is coming together. Tie piece, so the scarf piece, and we are going to place it right sides facing, starting from the middle. So mark the middle part by folding it in half, and then marking it here. So this is the middle, and then also on the hood you want to have the middle part of here. So when you fold it, this is the middle part. So this goes on top like that, like this. Then pin this in place. And now I'm just going to follow along this line and match it up with the bottom of the hood. Now I'm going to stitch this seam so that the scarf is attached to the hood, like that. We are going back to 1 centimeter seam allowance here. And now it's attached to each other. And what we want to do now is also make it neat here in the inside, this seam. So we are also going to add bias tape to that as well. And after we did that, we are going to add bias tape along all the sides and then all over the hood here. So I'm getting my bias tape and then measure here this piece and just place it on top here. I like to use a bit more than is needed to be sure that I have enough. The same way as we did before. First place it here and then stitch it together and then fold it over, and yeah, make sure that it looks nice and neat. Inseam as well. I can cut this little piece off. Let's do that. This is what it is looking like at the moment. I have to steam it a little bit more, and then I can just tie this, make it look cute. Now let's do the bias all the way around, and then the piece is done. Bias tape one more time, and now we are probably going to use a lot. Just going to measure roughly, but too long. So always make sure that you have more than enough. And then going all the way around the sides, because we are going to go all the way around it, all the way back to this point. So that will be here, but just to be sure, I'm going to add around 20 more centimeters. Better safe than very sorry. Okay, and now you're going to do that the same way as we did it the whole time. And we are going to place it on top and then just pin it. No, there's no more efficient way. You just have to go all the way around, and then after that, you're going to fold it over and then all the way around one more time. I'm not gonna film this because this is going to take a little while to pin this, and then I'm going to stitch close to the edge, so a little bit less than ½ centimeter as we did before, and just stitch all the way along the whole piece that we have. I did it all the way around. Now I'm going to fold it over and one more time so that everything looks nice and clean. So this, you fold it over the hood, and then we are going to stitch one more time over it at the full round. Of course, you want to pay extra attention in the corner, so pin it like a lot of times, and maybe if you really have excess of bias tape, then you can make a little fold in it so that it just looks nice. Continue doing things until you think that it looks good. It is always a harder process in the corner. Don't overthink it. Set your sewing machine to the longest stitch length for it to even be easier to follow along the outside of it. And one more thing that I would say, because the corner already is more challenging, I decided to start at the corner point, as I mentioned, but I would definitely not do that. Start somewhere at the back of the piece, because then it's easier to line up the pieces together. Okay, I redid the piece so that it is at the back. And here you can see that I started at this point and now I'm finishing here. So this is something that I have left over. So I'm gonna fold that diagonally, and then this goes over that piece. So I'm just going to stitch a little bit further than that piece. And go back like that. Way easier than doing that at the corner. And then when you fold it back, this one as well, I can cut those short, but just to show you what that would look like this. And then when you fold it, it looks very neat like this, and we will cut this off for sure, but that is how it would look. Amazing! I hope you liked this tutorial. I'm very excited about this piece. Make sure to join my community and get the free PDF of of this pattern, or create one for yourself and reflect on it with my pattern. That would be a great way to get yourself into pattern making. And one thing I will say is, to make it easier for yourself, use pre-made biaistape. I chose to use leather, which made it a little bit harder, but other than that, it is very straightforward and a cutie little piece for this winter. Yay!